Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. It's the Pre Entrepreneurs here, and today what we'll be doing is we'll be continuing our Investing with Max series. If you guys have not watched the previous video, I highly suggest you guys go watch that now. And as a disclaimer, this is just for educational purposes only, and if you're looking for financial advice, I highly suggest you seek out a registered financial advisor. If that makes sense, let's get started. All right, I'm just gonna share my screen here with you. All right. So yeah, as you can see here, right now I'm charting Rip Capital, and we'll go over today. What we'll do today is we'll go over Rip Capital as usual, Lifeist, Weed, BLGB, and ACB, all cannabis stocks or MJ stocks. And what I'll do after I show Rip Capital and all the charting and all that stuff, we'll go over ceo.ca and also Weed stocks in Reddit, and also in that Reddit I'll click on a link which is for NCV. Then after that we'll kind of like show you what's happening in the market and what to expect in the next few I guess you could say weeks or even months, right? Because as like what I said, I knew it was tax selling season, and a lot like you can see the stocks has been going down dramatically, right? So if you look at Rip Capital, as you can see here, it's all green, but this is the day chart. But going over you can see from November, right? So like November, let's say November, the start of November, right? So it's still it was down, like, and you can see it was hitting all kinds of support and resistance. So what happened was, okay, we can see here that it did form that cup. Then you can see here the handle. So when it did form that cup, then you see the handle, then it broke the previous previous support and resistance. So this is the resistance itself, so it peaked this resistance, and once it peaked that, then what happened was it broke that, then it went to a new support and resistance, right? Then after that, it hovered a little bit, then it went down. Then you can see 1 2 3 4 5 green days. Then after that 5 green days, it turned red. Then eventually it kind of like shook out the momentum, and the bulls got tired, and eventually the bears took over. And from November 10th, that was the first red day. Then on the 11th it tried to push back, then that's why it was a green day. Then after that, you can see here that on the next day, on 12, a lot of people were just cashing out. You can see here that this higher wick, people hit this day high of $1.80. Then people were exiting out, and as you can see here, the next day it was a red day. Then that red day eventually went to another, I guess you can see here, undecisive. As when you see this here, like the bears or the bulls, they're they're clashing on each other, and you don't know who's gonna win. Then eventually you can see another red day, and once it hit that red day and it kind of touched that resistance, the next day another red day, it went down. And you can see here on November 23rd that it hit the low of $1.53. Then it tried to come back from the new support and resistance, and it tried to push to go back to that old resistance, where I guess now it's called our support, right? And this is the support, but now it's the resistance. But now it's just hovering there. Then it did another spike up, and it went all the way up to $1.70, and it closed at $1.70. Then the next day it was another red day, so it opened at $1.70, right? Then after that, it closed at $1.56 and a low of $1.55. Then eventually, as you time progressed, December is coming up, and it's just hitting a new support and resistance, and it's just going lower and lower. Then as you can see here, it's been, you can see, green days, right? But because what's happening is that they would open really low. Then when they open really low, then they would close maybe a penny or two. So it looks like, it's doing really well, but it's actually not. It's just hovering there in the new support and resistance. And as you can see here, when it hit this, December 13, when it hit this support at $1.40, 41, 42. Then after that, it just, hovering around this point. Then eventually in the next few days, it just basically hovered in this new support and resistance. So basically what we want to do, and what we have to be cautious of, is that the support resistance that plays a major part of how traders are gonna react. And from there, what happened is you're like, okay, the support resistance, we might do, would we see a new support resistance here? But in my mind, it might not be in that case anymore, because what's happening is, like the tax law selling season is pretty much done, January. Then now it's going to be a new year, right? So it's going to be January, February, March. That's what we see, that the stock tend to go up, because what happened is the stocks has been beat down dramatically. That what's going to happen is that a lot of the opportunities will be when the stocks have heavily been shorted, and people are cashing out. Then what's going to happen is that they're like, you know what, this is a good entry point now. And from there, it could go to maybe even 100% in the next few months. But we'll definitely have to see what's gonna occur here, because what we need is a big catalyst in the cannabis industry. Could be in the Canadian or could be in the US side. But what I'm going to show you later on is I'm going to show you what potential catalysts that could happen that we've seen in the Canadian industry that might bring the stocks up again. All right. So yeah, so basically this is Rib Capital, and let's go to ceo.ca. As usual, you can see here that it's red, it's up 1.4%. And the last message from this guys here is December 20th, and it's already January 2nd. And you can see here, it's like, Narv, what's going on here? So this guy's probably thinking like, okay, there's not much things going on. Is there any updates and stuff like that? And what I really like about ceo.ca too is you can actually see on the left side here, the left side pane, the $1.45 is the share price. Then as you can see, when right now, like, it's 15 minutes delayed, and also the market is closed, but what you could actually see here is the interest of how many people are buying and selling. And if I go scroll up here, so you can see here that CIBC at $1.60 is wanting to sell the stocks of, how I think it's 10,000 worth, or 10,000. They have 10,000 shares that they want to sell at $1.60. So this could be a wall that we normally say that, hey, this is a big wall that the value is 18,000 for it to go jump or surpass the $1.60. So if somebody is willing to pay almost 18,000 and 208 at $1.60, then this wall will break and it would go to another wall, right? Normally, like as you can see here, there's a bunch here, and you can see the value, it goes higher and higher. And let's say if you wanted the stocks to go all the way to, let's say $10, let's see if there's anybody selling at that range. So you can see here that this one's selling 100 shares at $5.50, and the value of that is $550, right? But like, this is really cool to see, kind of like just to show you if anybody's selling at that point. So what normally people do is they'll set triggers, and it could be a stop loss trigger, or it could be, you know, a selling trigger at a higher price. So let's say, you know, at one point the stock goes up to like $10 and you want to cash out and you have a trigger, so automatically it would cash out at that share price for you. So instead of you doing it manually, everything is automated. So and I know a lot of people have stop loss, so that's why stocks can go down really quickly, because it would trigger those stop losses. So let's say if the stock for Rip Capital hits $10, and you can see here that nobody's selling at that range, right? So it's right now, you know, the stock would basically be close to, you know, almost 10x if we wanted the stocks to go up around, you know, the $10 plus range. And you can see that nobody's selling at this point, right? And what normally people do, if they have a bunch of shares that, you know, don't want to get borrowed, what they would do is they would actually put in, you know, their 10k shares, and they would put it at a higher price at, like, let's say $13 or $14, so that the broker can't borrow your shares. All right, so yeah, that's Rip Capital, and you can see here there's nothing, right? Oh, and I guess here at $14, and how many shares is this? 100 shares, and it's at 14. Value is at 1,400, right? And here for it says, yeah, $14. So yeah, that's what it looks like. This is a really cool feature if you want to see how many people are wanting to buy or sell stocks. Okay, so that's Rip Capital. So what we want to do now is let's go back to TradingView, and we want to look at Lifeist, right? And Lifeist is, yeah, it's been going down significantly as well. And you can see here that, you know, the volume is okay. You can see here that 664, you know, K. But we want to see millions, right? And though that's where the stocks actually moves, is in if it hits the millions. And you can see here that you see this kind of like green day here because of the volume. And you can see here 1.52 mil. This one was 1.15 mil. And yeah, this volume normally have the volume always have the stock normally moves either up or down. And right now, Lifeist Wellness Inc. is at $7.05, and it's been, you know, been going down significantly, right? Ever since like what I said before, ever since this big spike up in this one here, 2021 on January, you know, 7th, it was getting for like, it was picking up. Then yeah, January 13th, so that was a big rally there. And January 14th, then it went down. It did a bounce. You can see here it did a bounce here. So like people, you know, were taking profits here. Then it bounced here, then February, then it picked back up, then eventually started going down again, right? So it looks like it's like, you know, a very high bouncing ball in February, then it gradually just started going down and down, and it started losing its momentum. So what to keep note for Lifeist is their earnings is in November 20. So this is the ending period November 21, and they're gonna release this on the 14th on the 2022, right? And basically, if I go to ceo.ca, I go to Lifeist, and you can see here as Mr. Brown saying sell on December 29th. Don't panic, Mrs. Brown. And 3 years, like a Swiss watch between 100 to 300. So when I was reading this, one guy was saying that it's kind of like there's a pattern that he's seen around, you know, January, February, March, around that time frame. The stock tends to go up when there was a report of when Lifeist is actually, you know, rewarding their directors with shares, right? So you can see here, Lifeist just filed one report, blah, 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 blah. So where's that news that they indicated? Japan Times. Looks like we sell the remaining interest in Pipeline Express. So this was December 10th. So we're here. Lifeist Wellness Inc. issued long-term incentives for their directors, right? And this guy said, deja vu, if history is any indication, Lifeist should run shortly, run hard. I don't get it, why run? The printed more and more stocks called it a long-term incentives. Then I wonder who is the former directors they talked about who would also receive HR fair shares. I have no crystal ball, just mentioned the obvious. Check the history for the last 3 years in December and February. Options and RSU are common business practice, and to be honest, the total volume is not actually that big, equivalent of 100K. I mean, if you compare it to other ventures, then yeah. So if you click on this here, and basically, yeah, so they're wanting to incentivize their directors, right? So basically, this is what the company does. Then they're saying, to the end, the board approved on Friday, December 24th, effective after the market closed, the grant of aggregated 229, basically 230,000 stocks options to all officers of the company, which are exercisable into the common shares of the company at the price of 0.75 per common shares in accordance with the rules of the TX Venture Exchange of the company. So yeah, so basically they just want to incentivize their shareholders for I guess their directors, right? Like if they do well, the stock should basically go up as well. And also here, the RSU. Restricted share unit award is favor of officers, non-employee directors, and a former director of the company, thereby reserving 1,375,884 common shares for issuance in connection therewith, the accordance with the rules of the TXP, blah 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 blah, and all that stuff. Then talks about what they're all about. So basically that's Lifeist. So I'm really excited what's gonna go down in January, February, and March. Like we need a big catalyst that's gonna happen, and if we do see that, the stock should rally, kind of like what happened previously. But nothing's guaranteed though, right? Nothing's guaranteed. Nothing's 100%. That's what I learned. So if you're making money, always cash out. Then after that, just buy back in when the stock is going down again. Right? And okay, so now we looked at Rip Capital, Lifeist, then we'll look at Weed and look at earnings report for Canopy Growth is you can see here February 9th date, period ending December 21st, right? Then this is the estimated revenue 143, earnings 0.27, negative 0.27. But look at this, guys. This is crazy how if you just kind of like scale back, and once you scale back, you can see how the all-time blue sky breakout. And if you've seen my previous videos, this is when the stock just blew up, right? So from here, it was hovering around the $4 range, and even before that, it was just like before this here, it was hovering at 57 cents. That's insane. And yeah, like in May 2014, when nobody was into the industry, like the 2014 and like 15th, and even on the like 2016, like the stock was still like hovering at $2, right? And after that, all this hype, and when it took out, or when it hit the all-time high and it did a blue sky breakout, it just parabolically went up. It just did a supernova all the way from let's say here at $2 range, right, from June 29th 2016 and to all the way to 2018, right? 2018, and a high of, let's say, at $76.68, and this was on October 16th, 2018. Imagine that, guys. That's insane. 2016 to 2018, 2 years, and the stock just blew up from $2 all the way to basically a high of $76, right? But now what we're seeing is this is what happens in a market like this. When it's new, it's very volatile, and that's where you make all your money, is in this volatility. So if you're playing two sides, you're making money going up and making money going down, you should be pretty well off, right? But the thing is, nobody can predict what's going to happen in the near future of what stock is going to do, 100% inaccuracy. And you can see here, you can see that parabolic, like whoop, then goes down. And right now we're seeing the new support and resistance here, so it's kind of hard to see, but it's just been hovering here. And February is coming up for earnings, and the volume has been stagnant. It at some point it picks up, but eventually what we want to see is volumes like from previously, because you can see from here to here, when you compare it, very tiny, right? So it needs to pick up in that old state before, where you're seeing volumes that are like 10 million, 20 million a day. And if you can see that, the stock will eventually move up. But like what I said before, we really need a really good catalyst that that can pick the stock up or have that hype again, right? And if you can capture that hype and you're at a point where you're like, what, I'm making money, time to cash out. It doesn't even have to be 100% of your position. It could be just maybe half of your position, right? It's totally up to you how you want to strategize and maximize your gains. So so we'll see this here. So earnings revenue, February 9th, 2022, for the period ending for 21 on December, right? And what we could do here, so read under ceo.ca. You can see here, good news is you may be able to sell for your tax loss today. So like what I said before, everybody's talking about tax loss selling, and just be like, always cut your losses early if your thesis doesn't hold up, right? So majority of the people, that's their thinking when it comes to November, December. They're already thinking of if they're not making money, they should just sell, and any gains that they make that year can be a write-off for that. And for next year, maybe they have a better days ahead, and maybe they'll make more money and actually just compensate in their position. Okay, so sounds like a solid plan to lose more money, that's for sure. Blah blah blah, blah, and talks about that. So I'm really hoping to see the stocks rally again in the next few weeks or months, right? So this is Weed, and we'll go over BLGB, and BLGB has been the same as well. It's been going down ever since. It's very choppy here, as you can see, but it's following the big cannabis companies, right? So you can see here that it hit a new support and resistance. So the resistance right now is around, let's say, $15, and the support is around 14.5. We can even say maybe 14. But what we really want to see is we want to have or see in the near future a catalyst that will bring the stock back up, right? Because this is just following the big guys. And you can see here, earnings for this guy is March 2nd, 2022 for December 2021. And BLGB, all right. BLGB's right here. So you can see here, what's the latest news here? December 2nd provides update of the share buyback. then well, hopefully he's getting it up in the back door like he did to all the bag holders here. Thinks this will turn around. Yes, BRC RME coming Q1 2022, hoping for the best. This is what Kurt said. So yeah, we'll see. January, like what I said, February, we're hoping to see a reversal because right now the stocks has been beaten up really badly. And going back to ACB, so ACB, you can see here still the same kind of what do you call it, patterns with the rest of the other cannabis industry, is that it's hovering that new support, and it's this one even touched the support, like we might even like it broke that support, so we might even see a new level here, right? And their earnings is in February 10th for the December 2021, and you can see here the estimated value is maybe 59 million, estimated earnings negative 0.24, and the stock right now is at $6.85, so it's been pretty beaten down like dramatically. Well, yeah, look at this. I'm trying to even go up how bad it's beaten, because they did a reverse split, right? So it just decimated the stocks. So you can go here and we can say that ACB to the moon. So somebody's still very highly optimistic about ACB. One guy saying, I'd be happy with the $10. Anyone got a top pick for the sector, low market cap? Thanks. Or is ACB it, and why? So basically that's what ACB is. And yeah, what I wanted to like show you guys is basically let's go to weed stocks in Reddit. And I'm not sure if you guys have been here, but really great group for information. And if you just want to like hover here and also look at what's going on, you can take a look at what's going on here. Green Thumb industry forecast cannabis industry going to 75 billion in 3 to 5 years, right? And what I really like is I clicked on this, which caught my attention, which was this 3 events could help cannabis stocks break the downward trend. So you click on this, then it pops up to here, and basically new cannabis venture, they have a global cannabis stock index. It fell 10 straight months into year end, leaving the index down 26%. But I really like, if you read this, they have pretty good information. And basically one of them is what we can potentially see in 2022, kind of like what happened in 2020. Has it 21? No, not 2021. But basically, when the stocks were like rallying, it's because of the big tobaccos, big alcohol invested in the Canadian licensed producers, LPs. So that was, the Canadian LPs investing in the Tilray, Medmen, Canopy Growth, and Acreage, TerraSen, one of brands, and Corona Group, and all that stuff. So those are the things that the big tobaccos, the big alcohols, they saw a huge opportunity at the time, and they were investing in these companies, and they're like pouring in billions of dollars in these companies, right? So if we see the same thing in the Canadian industry to the US market, and a lot of the big guys are investing in those guys there, we might see a great catalyst that the stock might go up again, right, in 2022 if we see that. And another thing that these guys were saying is that maybe some of the exchange that the that the companies are on, maybe they have to be in higher exchange, right? Instead of the OTC, maybe they can move over to NASDAQ, to New York Stock Exchange. So all those small guys maybe move over to the bigger, the bigger stock exchange, right? But there's a lot of things that could happen for that, and also there's a lot of requirements too, right? So like a small company can't just go from OTC or pink sheet to NASDAQ, so they have to meet a specific requirements for them to list in either NASDAQ, New York Stock Exchange, and all that stuff, right? So, but if we start seeing that all kind of like what happened in the Canadian industry, where the small guys, they were from CSE, then going to the TSX and TXXV, a lot of the stocks tend to go up because of that big news, right? So what they're saying here in conclusion, 2022 could begin like 2019 did, turning on a dime after tax loss selling ended. Low valuation and strong projected growth could drive interest in the sector, but following this developing sector for almost 9 years now makes us well aware that spikes in interest tends to come from specific catalysts. So that's the most important thing, like what I was saying earlier, is that you have to have that specific catalyst that will drive the interest of other investors, even from outside the industry, to come in. And if they do that, stock tend to go up, right? And basically just kind of like, yeah, that shows you more of what it is being listed in the major exchange rather than the CSE and the OTC and all that stuff. All right, so yeah, what I'm going to show you now is, as you can see, the stocks has been going down, so definitely it's impacting my account as well. So if I show you here, you can see for Lifeist, right? So I was up like I think it was like 20-30% at one point, then now I'm down like 75%, right? So it could change very quickly. Stock can go really high and you're like, yeah, I'm making money. Then after that, eventually, for some reason, a couple months you didn't cash out, it tends and it is going down and down, and you're like, damn, I should have cashed out when I was up like 20-30%, but now I'm down 75%, right? From 10K to 3K. And Rave Capital is still up because I bought this at a really low price. I think it was like 50 cents, 60 cents or something like that. Then now, it's still up 25%, but I was up like 1,000% at on Rip Capital at one point. So anyway, hopefully that was informative. And if you guys have any questions regarding what I talked about, definitely just direct message me or comment down below. As always, take care and always invest right away, because if you do, then you're gonna make more money, right? It's all about learning experience. All right, take care and Happy New Year.